Hello, welcome to another video. So I thought after the last couple of ones I did, especially after my last endurance ride, I'd do a video on tips and tricks for you. I see a lot of questions online on the forums, on Facebook pages and what have you, mainly about endurance riding and how people go about preparing for it and getting their first one done. So I thought I'd put a little video together about what I do for the same thing. So let's get into it. So first thing I'd like to say is, what is an endurance ride? I think I mentioned it on my last video. For me, it probably starts at 100 miles. That is a proper endurance ride because you're out for multiple hours and you've got a lot of effort to put in. You've got a long way to go. It's going to take you a long time. Don't know if that's the same for you, but I mean, yeah, that's where I base my endurance on. Obviously, you can go a lot further when you get into ultra endurance, and that's another thing altogether. So the first thing, I'm not going to say any of these points are more important than any other. They're all points to put across. The first one I would say is your feed strategy. Now, don't do anything different than you would normally. That I cannot emphasize enough. It's so important. I see lots of people I've been here before, have a massive breakfast before they go off on a bike. And then what happens is you can't eat for ages. Like hours, like 2.5 hours. I think I've done it once where I had a huge, like a double breakfast, and I'd eaten a massive meal the night before because I knew I was going out and doing a long ride. I got about 2.5, 3 hours into the ride. I wasn't hungry, but then obviously when you're exercising, you're using more and more calories, and then you get to a point where you just can't catch up. One good thing about cycling, normal cycling, is that you can eat on the go. You can just stop and eat, or you can eat from stuff that's in your back pocket. So I would say have just a normal breakfast. Have what you normally eat. Have a normal brew, whatever, and then give it an hour maybe before getting on your bike. But from then on, just start nibbling away. It's a constant source of energy is what you require. And as far as that's concerned, while you're on the bike, again, don't change anything. If you can do 60 miles or 70 miles on a set amount of food or a certain type of food, do the same, just take a bit more. Surely that makes sense. You don't want to be going into anything different. You don't want to be eating something that your body isn't used to, because that can obviously cause issues, can't it? The next point is, again, it's an obvious one, but it's probably the single most important one, is to take enough fluids with you. Now, when I'm riding, I use two much larger bottles. I think they're 750 ml. I'll try and find a picture somewhere. They're much bigger bottles, and I will fill the pair of them. When you're out on an endurance ride, you need to obviously top them up if it's especially a hot day, because you're going to get through quite a lot. For me personally, I fill one with water and I fill one with electrolytes and what have you. We'll get onto that in a second. But you're always going to get the chance, well, you should always get the chance if you plan it correctly, to be able to stop at a shop or a cafe or what have you to top your bottles up. There's always an opportunity to do that. Now, as I mentioned, electrolytes are important. They really are with your hydration. One of my bottles, my 750ml bottles, I will have just full of water, and the other one I will have a mix of carbs and electrolytes. Now, I've been using Applied Nutrition's Velocity Fuel. Been using this since before my challenge. I was actually given one of these enormous bottles by a friend of mine, and I tried it out and I absolutely love it. Now, what's important about that is it contains carbs, so it means you don't have to carry quite as much food and fill your pockets as much, or have to cram stuff into bike bags. And it's full of electrolytes. It's got all of the things that you need. Let me just have a look at the list here. So we've got sodium, calcium, potassium and magnesium, as well as all the normal stuff. And it's absolutely jam-packed with energy. It really does help. In the past I've used these OTE tabs for shorter rides, help in the summer, replacing your salts and what have you. It's just fantastically important to have enough fluid in you. If you're going to be sweating a lot, is one of the mistakes I made on the last ride. I went back and put my shake dry on, you probably saw that, and I ended up wearing 4 layers and I was too hot. But I had enough fluids and I topped up when I went to the cafe stop, so it's fine. I don't mind sweating as long as I'm warm. As soon as you start being cold, when you're sweating underneath, you're in for a bad day there. The next point I'd like to say is plan your route carefully. Now, you've got many options of where you can go, I assume. You know, nobody lives on a tiny little island who cycles a lot. So what you can do is plan it around where you expect to go, keep it varied. I mean, if you want to just go out and smash a 100-mile one, fine, go and do that. But personally, I would say, do not do a there and back. 50 mile out and 50 mile back is not a good idea. It really isn't. Because if you have a mechanical, if you have a puncture, if you have an accident, you are potentially up to 50 miles away from getting help from somebody, which isn't a good idea. Plus, there's the option, if you bail early, you're closer to home. So if you are utterly knackered and you've only got a few miles to go home, it's not so much of a bother. If you're 50 miles from home, you've got nobody to help you, you're calling a taxi, and that's going to be expensive. The next one is not particularly cycling, but it's, don't worry. If you're planning to do a 100-mile ride, you're clearly a cyclist. You've more than likely done 50, 60, maybe a 70-mile ride and wanting to push up to that next level. Don't worry, you've got it. Focus on what you've already done, what you can do. So when you're out on the ride, you're getting 50, 60 miles in, you think, brilliant, past halfway, feeling all right, and it's downhill from here. Not necessarily downhill, you know what I mean. It's, you know, you're on to the end. You're getting closer and closer to celebrating your first century. One thing that's quite important, especially when it's like this, check the forecast. Depending where you live, the forecast can be really changeable. Yeah, you've seen it with me when I've had to get changed halfway through a ride, put shake dry on, take layers off, what have you. Check your forecast and wear the appropriate clothing. It's no good if it's beautiful and sunny and warm and you go out just wearing shorts and a short sleeve jersey when you know it's going to cool down and it's going to get wet. Just make sure you plan that correctly and get the appropriate clothes on, because yeah, you don't want to be that guy that's shivering by the side of the road asking for help or thumbing a lift, do you? One thing that should be a given before you go out on any ride, but especially it's more important if you're going out for an endurance ride, is to check your bike over. Check your brakes work, check your tyres are in good order, make sure your chain's oiled and waxed, just check your drivetrain. Check everything's smooth, compliant, your gears are shifting properly, check your tyre pressures, especially if you're tubeless. I am now, you check it regularly. I pump mine up once or twice a week depending on where I've been, how far I've been and what have you. Something as a safety aspect, now I forgot to do this for most of my challenge and it really helped others afterwards, was share your location with people. Now if you are a Strava premium user, you can use Beacon. What I prefer is to use my phone these days, because you've always got your phone, haven't you, in case of emergencies, never forget it. You can do a live location on WhatsApp for 8 hours straight. It's really helpful. So again, if you have a mechanical or an accident or you have bonked, you can ping your live location, send a message saying can you help, or ring, and they know exactly where you are. Not whereabouts are you, because you might be somewhere unfamiliar, you might not know exactly where you are. If you send them a location, they can use that to get to your exact position. So that is incredibly important as far as I'm concerned. So, you've done your first 100-mile ride. Absolutely bonza. Well done. You've obviously got a huge sense of achievement. First thing you're going to do is put it on Strava, aren't you? Get home, make sure you're warm, and start stretching straight away. The amount of times that I see people who have DOMS, that's delayed onset muscle soreness, Really sore legs, stiffness the day after is unsurprising, but it's incredibly important to stretch afterwards while your muscles are still warm, because it really does prevent a bad day the day after. Some people like to go out and do a recovery ride. You'll see, I think in the next video, after my 100 miler, I went out the day after and had an easy spin. Turned out to be just the same pace or faster than I was intending, but it's good to get your legs moving again. Once you've done that, don't make the mistake of eating everything in the fridge and everything in your cupboards. We've all been there, haven't we? It's like, oh, I've been out, I've done 100 miles today, I've been on my bike for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. I've probably burnt 5,000 calories, I'll eat 5,000. Don't forget, you've eaten before you've gone, you've eaten on the bike, and you'll eat normally when you get home. Don't keep eating, because you just end up putting weight on. I've done it. Obviously, the day after is similar too, because you'll want to eat the day after because you've put such a long ride in, you've put a big effort in, you've burnt a lot of calories. Just be wary that you don't have to. You can't treat yourself. I'm not saying you can't treat yourself. Have that ice cream, have that takeaway, but don't eat everything. Is that it? I think I've covered just about everything there. What I will say though is, if you're gonna go out and do it, enjoy it. You obviously enjoy cycling because you're out doing a 100-mile ride. It doesn't have to be horrible. Enjoy it for what it is. If you get a bit of rain on your ride and you weren't prepared for it, just accept it, crack on, put your appropriate clothing on and enjoy it, because it's your first. It's not going to be your last, is it? You go out and do more. Anyway, that is it from me. I need to get some work done. I need to get some videos put together. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this helps. If it has done, get in touch, let me know. If you've done 100 miles before and you've not done one since and you're worried about doing it again, I hope this has helped you. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again on the next one. Bye.